His job is done. Exactly 7 months ago, Lieutenant General Charles Bouchard took command of NATO's Operation Unified Protector. From the Allied Joint Force Command in Naples, the Canadian general directed the complex air and sea campaign for the people of Libya.
What made this a success was a sound campaign plan, a good design from the start, and we made sure that we stayed the course throughout, even though there were some pressures from many factors, be it political, internal to Libya and others, but we were able to stay focused on our objectives and meet those objectives.
The objectives were set by the United Nations, enforcing an arms embargo and a no-fly zone and protecting civilians against the threat of attack. NATO allies answered the call. They came together faster than ever before, joined by partners from Europe and the Arab world. They conducted the mission from the air and at sea with no boots on the ground. Gaddafi had assembled his war machine over 40 years. Within 7 months, it was no longer able to attack or harm the Libyan people. But Gaddafi himself was never the target.
Let me make myself perfectly clear. Gaddafi was never a single target. Throughout our operation, we remained focused on troops engaging civilians, both directly and indirectly, lines of communications, ammunition depots, maintenance depots, and large concentration of troops preparing to attack civilians.
NATO jets flew 9,600 strike sorties. General Bouchard had the last word in what he says was a rigorous targeting process. When deciding whether to go ahead with a strike, his main concern was to avoid civilian casualties.
For us, if it was to cause civilian casualties, we would rather wait and come back at another time. One of the best examples that we had was 2 air defense systems were located, but at the same location there was a soccer game taking place. And we actually waited for 2 hours for the soccer games to go, for these young children to leave the area. And once we had ensured that the area was clear, we were able to successfully engage the targets.
During the campaign, the regime made repeated allegations of NATO bombs having killed civilians. General Bouchard says these were the most difficult moments for him. He says the allegations were false.
We have clear knowledge that the regime actually moved corpses into areas where we had struck. But every time that an allegation of civilian casualties was made, it was always of concern to me and always ensured that they were fully assessed. And at the end of the day, none of these claims proved to be true.
But the NATO campaign was not just fought in the air. Bouchard is keen to stress the operations at sea were equally important to the mission's success. Around 20 maritime vessels patrolled the approaches to Libya's coast to prevent weapons and mercenaries from reaching Libya. And the maritime component also played an important role by demining the entrance to the port of Misrata.
After the mining of the port of Misrata, we saw some great courage from our maritime crews to go out and clear the fields to ensure that humanitarian assistance cargoes were allowed in to Libya.
Bouchard says he had no idea Gaddafi was in the convoy he targeted leaving Sirte. He was surprised the Libyan leader had even stayed there for so long.
At the end of the day, my preference would have been to see Gaddafi brought to justice by Libya and to justice by the International Court. But in all, this passing has brought closure to the people of Libya, and we should focus, and they should focus, on their future, not their past.
I'm Mike Mühlberger reporting for the NATO channel from Naples, Italy.